Sports. Yeah, she was fine. She ended up good. Well, at least it's behind it.
Oh, it's only 2 weeks out. And last night. Just because they're up here, this needs to stay still.
Right? I didn't see the 8th rally until I was
No. Travis, he was laying on the ground cover in the new greenhouse he's putting up, and he's like, "You can't walk in here." And I'm like, "Okay." And then we're going somewhere, and he's walking in there. I'm like, "Well, why are you walking there?" And he goes, "You can't walk in here because there's like divots, and we don't want any broken passages."
No more. Good for him.
I'm like, "Oh my God, we'll be here." So it happened. I'm like, "What we have?" I think I'm safe.
Knock on wood, please.
I'm safe.
We're just waiting for that to come out behind.
You look good. That's unusual, isn't it?
You got that twice today.
I know.
Oh, absolutely, I said
guess
so.
it's summer, you know?
Yeah.
We were just talking about that before, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to chair. Consider chair. I mean, I don't know. We put it back on the board.
Yes.
We were waiting for it.
Someone's got on summer vacation.
5:41. My apologies to those in attendance for starting the meeting a little bit late. Let us begin the meeting as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. And as we usually do as a part of our call to order, I will read the mission statement. It reads, the Founders Academy is a public chartered school encompassing grades 6 through 12 that is free and open to all New Hampshire students. The Academy develops leaders who understand and apply the lessons of the past, demonstrate exceptional character, and lead by example. The Academy recognizes the importance of balance in the development of the whole person and respects each student's journey. Principled leadership is fostered by means of a curriculum of classical studies that includes analyzing the lives of great men and women of history, mining the rich classical ideals of the Western tradition, and tracing the evolution of the precious and costly idea of liberty. That concludes the call to order portion, and the first item on our agenda is our Secretary's report. Under that item, we have minutes of May 15th, 2019. Has the board members had a chance to review those minutes? Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Christie makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt Mercier. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes of May 15th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstaining? Barbara is abstaining. All others are in favor. Any other items of business under the Secretary's report?
No.
That brings us to item 2, which is our treasurer's report. We have it in writing, and we have our treasurer here with us today.
Right now, we have a pretty healthy, the bottom line is showing a pretty healthy profit, but that's due to the fact that we are, our revenue is based on 9 months for September through May. In June, we won't have any additional revenue, but we will still have the expenses, just so it won't be a shock to everybody when they see that number dissipate, probably leaving somewhat of a loss for the end of the year. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. Anyone has any questions?
Any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, does the member of the board have a motion with respect to the treasurer's report?
I move to accept.
Motion by Matt to accept the treasurer's report. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Unanimous approval of the treasurer's report. Next item on our agenda, item 3, is our dean's report. Dean Mooney, what
Okay,
happened?
thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Before I begin, I just want to highlight the fact that I believe the school had its most glorious day in its history last Saturday, graduation. 12 graduates, now alumni of the Founders Academy Public Charter School. Soon, their formal portrait, taken on risers outside of the front of our school, will be displayed, the first of many years of graduates, in our front foyer. Could not have gone well. I ask you to look in your email boxes this Friday for a special edition of the parent newsletter focused solely and featuring solely Graduation Day 2019. Frankly, superb.
It was quite a day. Thank you, Dean Mooney, for all the choreography it took to get everybody in the right place at the right time, including getting me in the right place at the right time. It went fabulously.
I
And
really did,
We need
thank
to
you.
thank Greg also, who worked so hard with the students themselves to plan the day, and he played a big part in it too.
Exactly, including training the band on pomp and circumstance. He and Cassie Hayes, myself, with the graduation subcommittee, working on this since probably the beginning of last year, thinking about it since 2014, but working on it since the fall of 2018. The students, of course, who did a fantastic job, our student speaker, Frank Riccio, the faculty speaker, Mr. Klein. It really went well. We had parent volunteers, student volunteers. Overall, the term is glorious.
I think maybe as board members, I'm certainly glad to clap my hands for all of the parents and students especially, but our faculty that went into matriculating these kids all the way through school, as well as the people responsible for the ceremony. And with that, please join me. My apologies for interrupting your report.
So the end of school year convocation was held a little differently this year. Instead of holding it on the last day of school, the scheduling committee went with holding it on the first day of the last week of school, which worked out a lot better. The rest of that week is half day. It was dedicated to final exams. So on the actual last day, it was simply a half day and students went home. But we had a great convocation, which included music by Ms. Cormier, and also recognition awards, as we do every year. The jazz band played. We gave our Student Leader of the Year award that went to Connor McFarland for all of the work that he's done. And overall, an excellent convocation to close. That is officially closed the school year and open summer. First day of 1920 school year, September 3rd, 2019 at 7:45 a.m. The first bell will ring. The director
Just
of...
a short time from now.
Seems like it. It goes very fast. The summers go very fast here for sure. From the director of faculty, Mrs. Hayes, she says teachers are wrapping up the 2018-19 school year, looking forward to 2019-20, 2020. Summer assignments have been posted so students can begin working when they are ready. Supply lists will be posted on the website in the coming weeks, as well as course syllabi for the new year. Please be on the lookout for exciting information regarding the 2019-2020 school year. So that's from Mrs. Hayes. From the Director of Student Affairs, Mrs. Oliveira, her full report is attached to my report, but I'll read her intro. She says, Student Services is busy wrapping up the 2018-2019 school year and starting summer projects. Wrapping up the school year included many meetings with students and parents to review progress and plan for the coming school year. Numerous IEP and 504 meetings to update student plans and progress notes. And of course, arena scheduling for high schoolers, which took place in late May. We are excited to see our first senior class off at graduation this weekend. And again, her full report is attached to my online report. You may recall, every month we're going to feature a department. The department chair that submitted a write-up for tonight's agenda is Mr. Klein, who oversees the humanities department that includes both history and English. He says in humanities, the second semester offered new courses for high schoolers, including drama literature, fantasy literature, and military history. Students in those courses read classics including The Legend of Beowulf and the Greek tragedy Electra by Sophocles. In military history, students learned how American warfare was a combination of European and Native American tactics. Across the department, English and history teachers are working closely together to begin ways of ensuring that our courses in literature and history are aligned. So that's from Mr. Klein, again, who chairs the humanities department. He will chair that next year. He was the featured faculty speaker at Saturday's graduation. Students of the quarter, I have two sets, one for third quarter and one for fourth quarter. So starting with third quarter, for high school, it is Miss Rachel Sandell. Here tonight, no? She said people who nominated her, her colleagues who nominated her, had the following to say about her. This person said, I'm nominating this person for their excellent example of character, one of the pillars of our school's themes. She does a good job leading the high school senate. She has also done a good job of helping the House of Reps with field day. She's always open-minded. A mention from our leadership code of conduct. To listen to our ideas. Another student colleague of hers to nominate her said, She always helps people. She always tries her best. She's my sister. She helps people with things. Very good. Middle school student of the quarter, third quarter, is Serena Tate Koshi. And people had this to say about Serena, other students. Serena is a kind, caring, and honest person. She's an amazing friend and very helpful. She is very nice to me and has very good character. She's always there to talk to. She always has napkins at lunch. She always teaches me origami and helps me with my homework when I need it. So congratulations to Rachel and Serena, third quarter students of the quarter. Moving right along to fourth quarter students of the quarter. Middle school, actually I'll start with high school. Gabriela Alvarez is our high school student of the fourth quarter, and people had this to say. One teacher, in fact, had this to say about her. Gabby has never refused a request to do something to make a positive contribution to the school. Isn't that important, making positive contributions? It's simple. If you need something done to improve the school, ask Gabby, and it will be done, and done well and quickly. The Eagle logo, the periodic table, pushing for spring fling cleanup. That's from a teacher, Mr. Terriak. A student says as follows: she's always very nice to everyone, and she is always willing to help if anyone has a problem, whether she knows them or not. She's a really good friend. And then another teacher had this to say about Gabriella. Gabby has been volunteering throughout the year in computer science courses. She has worked to maintain the 3D printer and designed and painted the school mascot. Gabby is always willing to lend a hand. Gabby is always kind to all students. She is always upholding the code of conduct. So that's Gabby Alvarez, the high school student of the fourth quarter. On the middle school side, for fourth quarter, was Kylie Francis. And her colleagues had this to say about Kylie. Kylie is a good student and has a very good work ethic. She is very helpful to everyone and often helps Mr. Tellier with errands and teaching. Even in 6th grade, she was a great leader. As a junior, I love to watch her succeed, fail, and grow. Kylie and Gabriella. Teacher of the month. For the month of June is Kevin Quigley. This was announced too at convocation, another thing that we do in our agenda of recognitions. End of year convocation is all about recognizing teachers and students and volunteers. We go through the whole year even, recapping all of the teachers of the month, the volunteers of the month, and the students of the quarter. So Kevin, it was written here, Mr. Quigley has completed his first year teaching at Founders. He teaches French. Mr. Quigley quickly became a part of the Founders community with his years of teaching experience and unique classroom style. He has been recognized for his pedagogy, presented at best practices, and advised clubs. He is humorous, thoughtful to his students, and has traveled the world. In fact, in talking with him, it's quite fascinating, the countries he has traveled to. You may want to have that conversation if you ever meet with him. It's very fascinating. So congratulations to Mr. Quigley, and thank you for all you do at Founders. Next, I'm going to highlight the volunteer of the month of June, and it's Cindy Tellier. Cindy is the spouse of a teacher at Founders. She has assisted at musical concerts, greeting guests, and taking donations. She is always amazed at the musical talents of the Founders students. So congratulations to Mrs. Tellier. Also want to point out an anonymous donor gave a $25 gift card each month to Barnes & Noble for the Teacher of the Month. And that was highly appreciated by the teachers who received that, yes. All right. The next couple of items in my report are Presentations by Mr. McKenzie. The first is SAT scores, presenting on recent SAT scores, which we can probably see on the screen. And I'll have them go through them with you. We do work as a community here. It's very important that those who put the time and effort into various areas are able to present those things. And so with that, Mr. McKenzie, for item number 8 on my dean's report.
All right, thank you. First, before I go over the numbers, I just want to point out something that's kind of annoyed me ever since I sent out the email. I did make a grammatical mistake in here, which I noticed in right when the email went out. It's from me editing over and over again, and so that shouldn't be has. So I just want to get that off my chest because that's been infuriating me for the last 2 weeks.
I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah. I mean, especially when we talk about the scores and how high our English language arts scores are. I could really, I hate that. We did get the preliminary score results for this year for the SATs. This year, I think we had, I think it was 29 students that took it out of the 30 students that we had in the 11th grade. And as I learned a couple of months ago, and as I mentioned a couple of months ago when I talked about the PSAT scores, in terms of the New Hampshire averages and the national averages, there does tend to be some more adjustments that happen to those scores over the next, probably next few months. So in terms of putting into the bigger chart, now I have little nice colorful graphs. I'll wait to do that, until the fall once those numbers are kind of settled and we know exactly what those are. But in terms of they tend to swing, a couple points here and there. So in terms of the national average, I do not see this going up by say 30 points. It might go to 968 or it might go down to 964, something like that. But that's just as they add more tests, as more test results come in. So in terms of our national scores, our overall scores, you can see here the national average for 11th graders was 967. New Hampshire average was 1024. That's all of the 11th graders in the state, since that was the state requirement. Ours was 1108. Okay, so we're 144 points above the national average, and 84 points above the New Hampshire average. In the English language arts, again, we're solidly above the state and the national average. 489 for the national average, 516 for the state of New Hampshire, and then 574 for our school. For math, 478 for the national average, 508 for the New Hampshire average, and we are at 534. So it is very nice to see that our scores have now surpassed the New Hampshire averages. In terms of approaching or met the English language arts benchmarks, 60% for the national, 71% for New Hampshire, and 90% for the state. And that is showing who is deemed to basically be college ready, or on pace to be college ready. For math, the national average is 38, New Hampshire is 50, and we are at 59%. In terms of looking at the breakdowns a little bit more in terms of this, I'm happy to say that they've got it broken up into 6 different segments. We do not have any students in the very lowest segment. So even the students that are not approaching or met the benchmark, they're not at the very, very low end. So they're working on improving and getting their scores up. In most cases, they're knowing what classes that those students are taking, it is not too surprising that they are not at that benchmark. There tend to be students that we know that struggle in
questions?
Yeah, Greg, that seems to be I mean, based on the difference between the ELA benchmark and the math benchmark, it doesn't seem to be just a founder's problem as it relates to math. Can you give us a little context for that?
People are terrible at math. I mean, simply put, I mean, that is a trend everywhere. Some of the things that we have found in terms of what kind of math curriculum we want to have. That is something that every district deals with, and every district switches, and they're trying to find that magic bullet. They're trying to find that perfect curriculum where every student is going to be, getting 100%, and then it doesn't work for
40%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So there's not a good, perfect situation in terms of that. And in many cases, a lot of the parents, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the parents, when I talk to parents, a lot of them mention that, okay, well, we're going to talk about math now, and they tense up because they were traumatized by math in their youth. Which means that it kind of gets passed down, from generation to generation. There are some of us that really obviously like numbers and like math. There are many people that don't. It's trying to find, okay, what's the best solution to try and get as many students to be comfortable with math and to be less intimidated by it. I think in terms of the results that we're getting, that we had, last year versus this year, I think shows that we are on the right track. These numbers tend to stay about the same, from last year to this year.
What's the delta between our last year's numbers and this year's?
Last year, I think this was 33%.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we had 12 students that took it last year, which means that it swung wide. But when we were at 33%, we had, it was 33% that met the benchmark in terms of approaching. I think we definitely had more than that. But with each student, being worth basically 7% of that, it was very easy to kind of swing. And again, we had no students that were in the very lowest sections last year, or again this year. I do think that it is showing that what we are doing is working. But obviously we want to get that number even higher.
Thank you.
My own comment is I'm glad to see some movement, some positive results, and makes me look forward to the next year and seeing what the next time around it is, and hopefully we're building a nice trend upward that continues and becomes nice and stable for us, proving that all of our hard work by the faculty and the students and the parents are being on. Thank you for the numbers. Thank you for the presentation.
So certainly want to thank the department chairman, faculty in those departments, the students obviously who took those and studied for those tests, as well as our registrar, Mr. McKenzie, for crunching those numbers for the scheduling committee and now for you. And this also appeared in the parent newsletter too. So I want to thank all of you for your hard work on that. All right, next up is Mr. McKenzie again. The title of this presentation is Minimum Standards. And just as a brief intro, Mr. McKenzie has been, in his capacity as a registrar, working on this. And he brought it up to the scheduling committee a couple times, and to the point where it was suggested that it's ready for board presentation and discussion. So I know Greg has given this a considerable thought, so I'll let him take it from there.
Yeah. And I would like to first do one thing. The document that's up there is off by 1 day. So I'm going to think that there's one minor change on it.
Can you take these back and destroy them?
Sure. Make bigger. And I'll, so that you know what's on there, you know, there's one line that got added to it. So I won't be able to discuss what that is. So the basic reasoning for something like this, this is going to be something that I'm proposing so that we have a little bit more definition on, you know, as founders, what is a 12th grader, what is an 11th grader, what is a 10th grader, you know, kind of working our way backwards. Because what we've kind of found as we've gone through the 5 years is that we want to make sure that students know, especially at the high school level, how close they are to graduating. We want to make sure that they have an accurate timeline in their mind on, you know, are they on pace? Because we do not want to have it where a student is in, say, 10th grade or say 11th grade, and then they look at their checklist of the classes that they've taken, and they haven't been passing the classes, and they realize that they still have 20 more credits to do. And there's no way to do that in a 2-year time span. And all of a sudden, you know, they run into a wall at, you know, 11th grade. It should not be something where it catches them off guard like that. And so we want to make sure that as we go through, you know, as they go from year to year, they're able to kind of, in some ways, light a little fire under them, but also so that this kind of keeps them on track to be able to graduate. So it really works, you know, when I came up with this, it's really working backwards. So in terms of, you know, what a 12th grader is, you know, someone that has 18 and a half total high school credits completed off of the graduation checklist. They've got 4 completed high school mathematics credits, including mastery in Algebra 1, and at least 1 completed high school science credit. And the reason, you know, for especially for those first 2, in terms of 18 and a half total credits completed, they've got to have 26 in order to graduate, which means if they've got less than this, then they're going to have an overloaded schedule, which means that they're, you know, odds are they're not going to graduate on time. You know, as a 12th grader, they're going to be in a situation where they're going to see their peers graduate and they're not. Okay, we do not want them in a situation like that. If they have not completed Algebra 1 already, consider our requirements are Algebra 1, geometry, and then either Algebra 2 or probability and statistics. They can't take 3 math classes all in 1 year in their senior year. They're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to, you know, basically in 10 months complete 3 math classes. Because they've probably been shown that they're not strong math people. They're not, you know, math savants. 2 high school credits completed in English. There's the graduation requirement for us and for the state is 4 credits. So again, this keeps them from having to triple up in English. For history, 2.5 high school credits. Our requirement is 5, including mastery in U.S. History 1. Because if they haven't passed U.S. History 1, then that is a kind of a keystone to, you know, other classes, that they can take. Again, they would not be able to take, you know, shove all these classes into 1 year. And then 1 high school credit completed in a world language. Our requirement to graduate is 2. So again, they're not having to do 2, you know, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 all in the same year. Because it's not going to happen. Then going back to 11th grade, Again, kind of working its way backwards, at least 11 and a half total high school credits completed by the beginning of the school year. And so that way, 11th grade is a reasonable amount of credits, 12th grade is a reasonable amount of credits. Currently enrolled or mastery achieved in Algebra 1, at least one high school credit completed in science, in English, and in history. So again, it's getting them on that pace to be able to be in 12th grade. For 10th grade, it's a lot simpler. At least 4.5 total high school credits completed by the beginning of the school year. Again, so that way, if they're at 4.5 credits, then to be an 11th grader, they've got to complete 7 credits, which is a reasonable amount to do. Students can take 7 credits and still have a study home in our school. 9th grade, this is something that I've implemented not for this coming year, but for 2020, 2021, so a year from now, that a student would be eligible to take or have already mastered at least 2 total credits from the following list. And I kept it what is traditionally considered the core classes in English, history, math, and science. This would basically be meaning that they are taking high school level classes in these subject areas. So for English, high school composition and rhetoric, they've got to be eligible to take those. If they're still taking 7th grade English because they've been failing it, especially because they haven't been doing the work, then they're not going to be on pace to graduate. Same thing with history, same thing with math, and same thing with science. And it's purposely kept so that it is, they don't have to have all of these checks completed. Because as talked about in the other presentation, some people are not strong in math or science. They might be more, focused on English and history, or vice versa. Every student has different strengths and weaknesses. But this is getting it so that, okay, if you're strong in math and science and you're not good at reading and writing, okay, we know that that might be one level behind. And there's room for them if they're just behind in 1 or 2 subjects, in their high school career, there is room built in for them to be able to easily catch up.
Greg, excuse me, before you go on, why the delayed implementation?
Because especially in terms of the students that we have, new students that are coming in, and also, what we had in terms of the 8th graders going to 9th grade, we had to define that these students are high schoolers. With some of the schools that we have, that when an 8th grader transfers out, they want to know that they've been that they've graduated 8th grade, and that we would consider them 9th graders. We've already kind of gone through that school year, and so we've already given them grades. We've already given them report cards. For us to then turn around and say, yeah, we know 2 weeks ago you finished up your 8th grade year, but now we're not going to consider you a high schooler. That could affect things in terms of them, many of them that are transferring out and going to, say, Manchester Central or Manchester West or MST, something like that. We do not want to affect that retroactively.
Now, are these more, our new, what will be new 9th grade requirements more stringent than those in the other schools that kids might be transferred to?
In a number of the other schools, especially in the Manchester schools and in many other schools, if they are of a certain age, they would be put in 9th grade. Because they have remedial classes of any stripe.
Got it.
And so I've known from teaching in other districts where I've had students that literally failed every class in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. They went on to 9th grade.
So it's not a laughing matter?
No, I mean, and so it is a real situation. And so we want to make sure that, something like that doesn't happen here, because we don't have the remedial, we don't have remedial English classes or history classes. We don't have fluff classes, which honestly many other districts do, because their standards, you know, they don't have the 26 credit requirement.
Sure.
They have 20. They're trying to just get their students to graduate.
Yep.
And if we have students that are at that point, if we have a student that say is going to be in 9th grade, but they're taking all 8th grade classes or all 7th grade classes, they're really not a 9th grade. They're not going to graduate in 4 years.
And the idea is to just let those students catch up.
Right, and so it gives it lets them know and their parents know that, okay, this is where you are on track to graduate. You know, from our school, we do not want to catch them off guard and have them, you know, labeled as a 9th grader, but you know, really you're not going to graduate here for another 5 or 6 years, and not know that going into it.
Yes, well, there are certain things, activities at the school that are not based on academics, such as roundtable, such as maybe lunch, such as things like the Senate or the House of Representatives. So, and in the past, we just said, if you're a certain age, you're in a certain grade. But you take courses according to what level you're at. And that way, kids didn't have a stigma in social situations such as roundtable, where they had to be with kids maybe 2 years younger than they could be with their age group, considered to be, you know, at the same social level, and then just take whatever courses they needed to take academically.
Yes, and that's, from a social standpoint, in terms of that is true. But what we're finding with the students that are in that situation, they are then getting hit almost twice as hard in terms of their, you know, in terms of their feeling of self-worth and you know, their motivation toward their academic standing. In some cases,
It would be better for them just to be left back. They wouldn't feel as bad.
yes.
Why?
Because academically, their peer group is not the same thing.
But there is no kid, I don't imagine, and maybe just one, that would be at the lowest level in all classes.
That is true. I mean, we are not
So
we are not talking
then
a lot of
if you-
students.
And you know what your strengths are, so you say, okay, I'm better in these and I'm not so good in these, but I'm socially with the people that are the same age as me.
Right, but it's only that they're socially with the same age. They're not socially, that it's not taking into account any other social aspects. We've got.
I mean, in classes, they're wherever they are, and they might be two grades ahead, 2 grades behind, whatever. But in just the ordinary thing of, oh, yes, I'm 14, I'm in 9th grade, it's just, then there isn't, I think there's a much less stigma than I'm 14 and I'm in 7th grade.
I guess my view is, though, there may be some impact on kids that are at that borderline 8th and 9th grade level and have to kind of sort out some of these consequences. But whatever that is far less of an impact than in getting to 12th grade and waving goodbye to everybody in caps and gowns while you do 12th grade over again. That impact is pretty brutal.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. First of all, there'd only be 1 or 2 of those too. There's not going to be a whole school of them. And they should know about that before 12th grade. They would know that they have to take an extra course or 2 to graduate. They wouldn't have to take an entire 12th grade again.
With the way that this is structured, it would not be a situation where a student is behind in one course. And it's designed that way. It's not.
They'd have to take the whole 12th grade again.
No, they would only take classes that they need to take.
So,
That's what
okay.
this is, a bare minimum. So if you're not
So
on
if-
this pattern, you cannot finish in 4 years if you're not at this
That's
basic.
okay, that's okay. I just wouldn't say you're not, I would just say you still have certain courses you still have to take to graduate. But I wouldn't say you're now in 10th grade even though you were supposed to be in 12th grade. I just wouldn't do that. I would let it be as it is. Let them know. I don't understand why you have to make this a grade label. Why you can't let each student know you have 5 more courses
Because
to take, you have 3 more courses to take.
what we have found in the past is when we have done that and we have pulled them aside and we've met with their parents, there has been a hesitation to believe that that is true. And so
what?
but then the problem is then they are, we've got students that have been in that situation before and they are still not doing the work. They are not passing.
But if you think if we say, okay, you're now moving left back, they will do the work.
Yes, I do.
It's a kind of punishment.
I don't think it's a punishment. I think it's an accurate representation of how close they are to having graduated.
And they
And they
can't
need
conceive of it
No.
unless you lower their grade.
And I wouldn't say that it's low, I wouldn't
I
say,
don't believe it.
I wouldn't say that it's lowering their grade, because we would not be taking anyone that is, say, that was a 10th grader this year and moving them down to 9th grade. We would never do
Yeah,
that.
but if, let's say a 6th grader has to redo 6th grade, then he's not a 7th grader, and he has been lowered because he was supposed to be a 7th grader.
Right, no, he hasn't.
That's the
correct.
consequence
That
of
means,
that.
but that means that he's only not passed 2 of those 4 classes to be called.
I
It's
just,
just 2.
I like to
Yes.
see them socially be with their age group. I thought that was the ideal thing about this school. Socially, they could be with their age group. And academically, they go wherever they needed to go.
See, but they're not, when they go academically to their math class, they're gonna be with 7th graders instead of
Right,
9th
right,
graders.
that's
And they're
fine.
not socially with their, I mean, whatever you do.
Socially with their age group, academically,
Well,
with whatever group
but in
they
name
belong
only,
in.
all the people in the classroom that they're in are gonna be 7th graders.
Right, that's okay, because they have lunch with their age group, they're meeting with their, they do gym type classes with their age group. This way, you just go down, and you're all the time with a younger group. Whereas, if you don't do this, you still academically require the same things, but you don't bring them down in every single aspect of school.
Well, for a student that's 1 class behind, this doesn't even apply. That's not gonna hit those kids. These are kids that are at a point where they've gone to school for eight years and they cannot finish by going through normal 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
No, you're gonna, if you haven't finished the 6th through, 7th grade, all this, then you go back.
No, it's eligible to, for 7th graders, to be eligible, you need to be eligible to take 2 of those classes. English, history, math, or science. So if someone has failed English, history, math, and science, they failed all 4 of those classes. I have seen it, I can tell you from the records, those are not the only 4 classes that they've also failed. In many cases, we have students that have failed literally every class.
So what? So let them still be in social situations with their age group.
Because
They
what
still
is-
take all those other
It's a disaster.
classes.
Another
It's a
issue
disaster
that,
when they're 20 years old and they still haven't graduated. They're not with their social group then, because all our social
But,
group is.
so what? So what? So what? You want them to be with the kids their own age.
but we,
I'm here, Barbara's got a comment. She's been raising her hand for a bit. and I've been-
Yeah, so, looking at this, if students, are coming into the school, and I'm assuming it's what it is, we have to have a baseline for new students coming in to see where they are academically. And if they're not at that particular thing, they have the opportunity to get up to their grade level based on how this, and if they want to do, I'm assuming tutoring or go through summer school or something.
Relax, yes.
Right, they can make it. It's how important is it for them to be with their age group? And it might be more of an incentive for them to get to that point as a as wondering about where they are. But it might be an incentive for them so that they can be socially with their age group, because
It's absolutely mortifying.
But this, the way this is written, it gives them the opportunity. It's not saying you're stuck in 7th grade for the entire year, because you may ask to overcome your shortness, and you may, in half a year, move up to 8th grade.
And we do have, there are ways for, say, a student that does need to, needs to repeat 6th grade. There is a process for them to be able to complete their 6th grade stuff, take VLOX courses, and so that they can jump ahead. So there is the pathway for a student that is motivated to go from being in 6th grade this year to 8th grade next year. And whether it is a student that is that has been falling behind, or has, for whatever reason was not motivated, or struggled at the beginning of the school, or a student that is also just plain advanced, that